My tiny whoops grooving like a funky jam. I dip through the doorway, spin by the cab, bounce off the toaster, yeah, I meant to do that. Neighbors knocking, saying, what's that sound? It's my brush motor soul train getting down. Flying through the curtain, dancing on breeze, freestyle funk in my living room with ease. Tiny whoop magic, bumping every wall. I'm the James Brown of flight, can't stop it all. I got LED strobes and a shag rug trail. I'm looping through the lava lamp, leaving a tail. My whoops got rhythm, my sticks got soul. I'm the pilot of the party. On a roll, TV remotes a gate, the lamps a dive. I'm flying like it's 7.5. No GPS, no rules, no shame. Just a funky little quad in a soul train frame. We fly that flow, grab that gap. No time to nap, no time to nap. Hit that roll, funk and control, bounce that wall, we fly it all, we fly it all. Tiny whoop love, funky and free. We fly indoors, we fly with glee. Whoop it, loop it, groove it, move it, bounce it, flip it, funk it, rip it, fly that soul, don't lose control. Tiny whoop love gonna make you whole. I thread the needle through the vinyl stacks, bounce off the mirror ball, never looking back. My quad's got soul, it's got style, it's got sass. It dips through the incense like a blast from the past. I'm flying figure eights through the lava lamp glow, dodging house plants like a funky pro. My whoops got rhythm, my sticks got heat. I'm the pilot of the party with the grooviest beat. I loop through the hallway, I dive by the broom. I'm the disco ghost in your living room. I hit that split that's over grandma's chair. She just claps and says, boy, you got flair. I'm flying freestyle with a velvet touch. My quad so smooth it don't need a clutch. From the shag rug to the ceiling fan, I'm the funky little fly with a master plan. The curtains dancing on the breeze, freestyle funk in my living room with ease. Tiny whoop magic bumping every wall. I'm the James Brown of flight, can't stop at all. Can't stop at all. Can't stop at all.
Hello, friends. My name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti, and I only forgot to hit one light this time. There we go. Welcome to hell. Welcome to... I also forgot to do this. We're good now. Nope. We're less good now. Almost good. Almost good. Now we're good. Close enough. Welcome to Whoop Wednesday. We're going to finish the X14 build tonight and see what's going on with it. Hey, first and foremost, all of the people that have been having issues with the black box on the X14, it is fixed over on the X14 product page here on HappyModel's website. There is a chunk of red text here that says, latest Betaflight firmware 2025.12.1 version has fixed the black box issue. So I'm going to have to figure out how to get this onto the newest Betaflight firmware, because I am planning on using the black box to try to learn some stuff with this. So yeah, that's the main plan for tonight. What you were just watching is the baby turtle 2-inch. Hold on, let me actually unplug it. 12 gigs available. Well, these last... I flew it earlier today, but it's so dark that you can't see anything. And so let me just delete that. I might as well delete everything off the card. I was playing that straight off the 04 air unit. If it was popping and banging a little bit, freezing and flooping, that's why. So, Baby Turtle, 2-inch, Pro, Baby Turtle Pro, 2-inch. You'll notice is missing a propeller. I'm about 20 batteries into this, and it's been great. This build is, it's the Flywoo AIO that Rotorite uses on the Vision 20. It's the Flywoo, like, I think it's 1 to 2S. It's meant for HD. There's no OSD on it. And then 04 Lite and HappyModel 1103 11,000 kV motors. Gemfan 2023S propellers as well. Flies great. Now that I'm starting to get used to it, I'm flying it harder. And the first big crash that this thing took, it bent the bejesus out of this motor bell. Let me see. You might actually... It's so bad that I think you're going to be able to see it wobbling. Hold on. I need to hold it steady. There. Look at the gap over here. Look at this gap. Ready? Oh, yeah. You can see that wobble. So, yeah. That's not good. One of my biggest issues with non-ducted carbon frame small stuff has been when you mount the motors to carbon fiber, there's no give whatsoever. And so when you crash it, it's going to put all of that energy into the motor bell. And all of these itty-bitty little motors have tiny little 1.5 millimeter motor shafts. I said motor shaft. I said motor bell a second ago. I meant to say motor shaft. So here's what a motor looks like. You've got the motor shaft that goes down through it. And so if I take these C-clips off, I can pull this thing apart. And so this is the stator. This kind of never breaks unless you get it too hot, and then the enamel on the windings melts, and then it explodes. This is your motor shaft. The motor shaft goes up through the bell. It sits right around there. In this case, we've got a little C-clip, and so we put that C-clip back on. And so there you go. And so this motor shaft here, this is a model of an 802. And on most 802 motors that exist nowadays, and 702s, it looks exactly like this. This here is 1.5 millimeters in diameter, and then this up here is 1 millimeter in diameter. And so, in this case, with these HappyModel motors, this is not thinner. It's 1.5 millimeters all the way through, okay? What has happened on this motor is that when the bell was on here, and the prop was on here, the prop got side-loaded, right? A bunch of energy went this way, and it bent the motor shaft down here. The motor shaft is bent, actually, I'll show you where it's bent. Right above where it goes through the stator. So the stator has either bearings here and down here, or metal bushings. I think these motors have bearings, but it doesn't matter. So the motor shaft has bent right here. And this is kind of where the motor shafts always bend. On any quad, the most common failure is that the motor shaft bends right above the top bearing of the stator. This is like the biggest problem with all of these motors that we run. T-Motor is actually coming out with a 4 millimeter shaft 2306 or 2307 or 22, I forget what it is, to try to help with that issue. On tiny whoops, on itty bitty 1.2 inch tiny whoops, it's not that much of a problem because of how light they are, but it is still a problem. And much like this model here, it's 1.5 millimeters and then 1 millimeter. If we can get some good propellers, Weebleed makes 0702 bells that work on Weebleed, HappyModel, and Tiny Whoop motors with a 1.5 millimeter motor shaft. A 1.2 inch rig with 1.5 millimeter motor shaft all the way up is going to be pretty much indestructible. These are so low power, so lightweight that they won't be able to kill a 1.5 millimeter motor shaft. Well, then you go to 1.6 or 1.8 inch builds, and they get significantly more powerful and significantly heavier. And at that point, in a plastic frame, we're still okay. The 1.5 millimeter motor shaft is fine in a plastic frame. The plastic frame is going to absorb a bunch of the energy during crashes, and then if the propeller is here, sure, it's going to put that energy into the motor, but the motor is mounted on a flexible plastic frame. And so the entire plastic frame is going to absorb all of that energy from crashes. And I haven't killed a single 1.5 millimeter motor shaft motor on any of these 2S, 1.6, 1.8, or even 2 inch tiny whoops. But then we get into the world of carbon fiber stuff, where the carbon fiber arm is not going to give at all. Even if you get the thinner carbon fiber, it doesn't give enough. It doesn't do what these plastic frames do. And so now, of course, not of course, but I'm telling you, the 1.5 millimeter motor shaft is just not thick enough. It doesn't matter who's making the motor. They're all using pretty much the same, if not exactly the same materials on these things. On something like this, on a really hard slam, it's going to bend a motor shaft. The other thing that's happening, so there's actually two problems. This is what the crash did. The crash was from about 20 feet. Here's the other problem that I've just recently kind of been dealing with, is that none of these itty-bitty motors have the T-mount screws. And so without the T-mount screws, we've got a prop that's just press fit onto the shaft. Well, when you side load this propeller, it pops up and off. And so these propellers are flying off. That situation is made worse by the fact that HappyModel used a short shaft here. They didn't use a full-length shaft. Maybe they did this on purpose so that the propeller would pop off before it bends the motor. But we can't have the propellers popping off. And so what I've realized is that you can take an M1.8 screw and you can run it through the 1.5 millimeter hole in these propellers. And it digs into the plastic and it raises. When it digs into plastic, the plastic outside of where it digs in raises up. And so that makes these propellers not fly off of these motors. The propellers fly off, A, because the shaft's a little bit shorter, but B, because we're making a lot of power on these now and we're crashing them hard and the arms are carbon fiber, yada, yada, yada. And so, yeah, there's a bunch of things all happening at once. What is nice is that the baby turtle frame held up totally fine. The arm isn't even remotely delaminating. The frame is absolutely fine. But as always, the motors are going to be the weak link. Ooh, this front motor took a hit too. As always, the motors are the weak link. I'm very glad that I set this AIO up with motor plugs so that I can just unplug this motor number 4 and swap a new one on. But I think that, like, 2 inches... So I, of course, just got these 2 2.5-inch baby turtle frames. But I did get these with the 9x9 bolt pattern, so I can run the bigger motors that have T-mount holes. And so with the propeller on the T-mount hole, I won't be able to run these propellers, right? I'll have to run heavier propellers, but being able to screw the T-mount screws down, it will hold the propeller on there. And what it'll also do is it'll prevent the propeller, I hope, from bending the motor shaft. So this is, you got like the motor shaft and you got like the propeller hanging on it. When the propeller gets pushed up and off, it's going to try to bend the motor shaft up above the bell. I know this is a thing because on my frame, the Thrasher build that I'm going to smash and see where I can break my frame, I ran props on these 1304 motors with no T-mount screws, and on the very first crash, the propeller loaded up that motor shaft and broke the motor shaft off above the bell of the motor. I was able to then just use the T-mount screws to hold that prop down, but then that motor cooked anyway, so it was kind of perfect. But yeah, couple things going on. There's a lot of people that are huge fans of like not running the T-mount screws to save the weight. But if you're gonna crash, you just can't do that. And like, crash. Don't not crash. Push yourself. You'll get better at flying. Crashing is one of the things that you can do to get better at flying, because when you crash, you've pushed yourself to and or beyond your limits, and that's a good thing. That's kind of the point here. So crash. And so yeah, I am going to look for. I'm going to replace this motor. I have 2 extra of these motors, and then we'll see if every big crash eats a motor. If it does, I'm going to try a different motor. I'm going to move this over to like maybe an RC Power 1003, or I'll find something. I have one RC Power 1003 10,000 kV motor, so I'll get 3 more of these, and then we'll give it a shot on here. See if these motors are any more durable. But I'm not sure, man. At the very least, the RC Power motor will have the longer motor shaft. And so hopefully because one of the things that I did notice, and I think I threw this propeller away. Oh, shit. I'm not going to be able to find it in that garbage can. Are you kidding me? Hold on. I should have saved this. There it is. Okay. Oh wait, is this it? Maybe this is the one. It's one of these. Okay. Here's something else I noticed from the short shaft. Look what happened to the hub of that propeller. See that? So you can see the threading from where I ran the screw down there, and so you can see how it kind of dug in. And so this propeller was fitting really good, but then when it took that crash, this was the prop that was on the motor that took that big hit. It like broke the bottom of the hub mounting. Isn't that wild? So we've got a couple things going on here. There's a, you know, it's the shit is just rolling downhill as it does. And yeah, it's I think that it's interesting that on one hand the short shaft maybe can let the propeller be the sacrificial thing. But I can't personally have that because I want to fly this in spots that are unrecoverable. So I now have to tighten the propellers up so that they don't fly off. But then by doing that, the propeller stays on and bends the motor shaft and breaks the motor. So it's yeah. And for the record, these motors do have T-mount screw holes, but the propellers that we want to run don't. There are no 2-inch props. Well, are there? Hold on. Shit. Hold on. I've got a list, I think. I think I have a list of the Google Sheets of the propeller weights. Google Sheets sign in. What? No, idiot. No, I want to go to the main. Where's the main thing, you idiots? Oh my god, Google, you're the absolute worst. No, take me out of... There we go. CiottiFPV Tiny Whoop data. Is this the one with weights? There's a bunch of batteries. No. Prop testing. No, that's not it. Where's the one with the weights? I got 2 spreadsheets that are available to you patrons. Here it is. FPV weights is the other spreadsheet. Here we go. Well, shit. I haven't weighed the 2-inch props. Looks like I got some work to do. All right, so I gotta weigh the I gotta weigh my 2-inch props. So let me get that bag out, and while I'm at it, we'll take a quick look at all of the 2-inch props to see if there are any that are gonna be light enough. This is pretty much all of the 2-inch props that have ever been made. I am going to weigh these and put these on there, so I'm just going to dump this out, I guess, back here. And real quick, I'm just going to rifle through these to see if there's anything that's actually decent. I'm pretty sure there isn't. 2-inch props are kind of rough. There might be, though. So this is the Avan Blur. This is really good, but it's going to be super heavy. The Gemfan Hurricane 2008 and 2009 suck. Oh, there's an Azure. I forgot about the Azure. The problem is these are all going to be too heavy. Like the 2023 it's the one. But just for the sake of looking, I'm looking. No, these are all crap. But just to give you some idea of the situation here. So the Gemfan 2023s, 4 of them are 2.9 grams. All right, call it 3 grams for 4 of the Gemfan 2023 tri-blades. These are Gemfan 2023 non-S's. Those are 2023 S's. These are the old school 2023s. 4 of these are 3.6 grams. That's actually not that much heavier. I thought they would be way heavier than that. Here are the HQ 2x2x3s. 4 of these. We're also going to gain weight from the screws. Into these the T-mount screws, right? And they're gonna be heavy. Oh, these these HQs are pretty light, 3.1 grams. Okay. Looks like I might have to try some of these. The Azores. Well, okay. That's fine. There, I showed some of them. It looks like they're not as heavy as I thought they were gonna be. So I just need to try them. I need to try some of these other props to see how we can get these things to mix in a little bit more durability. Really is what we're going for here. With the 2023 S's fly amazing. They're super lightweight, but they're just not. It's not looking like they're going to be durable enough. Here's the Azores. 1, 2, 3, 4 of the Azores are 3.2. These are 2035, 2035, so these are pretty pitchy. 3.3 grams ain't too bad for 4 of them. And then the last ones I want to weigh really quick are the Avan blurs. These are, realistically, these are the only 2-inch props that you're going to want to have anything to do with. These are the good ones. The rest of that bag is like old stuff from 8-9 years ago. Emax Avan blur, tri-blades. Ugh. Oh! 4.7 grams for 4 of them. And let me just really quickly reweigh the 2023Ss. I can't believe that the 2023Ss aren't lighter than this, to be really honest with you. Because the hub design is pretty, like, thin and filled with air. But yeah, 3 grams. 3.0 grams. Alright, well, I'm going to try those other props. They're going to require... I can tell you what the prop screws are going to be. They're going to be M2 by... Best case scenario, they're going to be M2 by 6. You know what? You're going to want to get M2 by 6 aluminum or titanium for something like this. And so you're going to need 8 of these. It's probably not going to be M2 by 6. It's probably going to be M2 by 7. But it kind of depends on the prop. But if it is M2 by 6, you're looking at an extra... Let's see. That's 4, 5, 6, 7. Ooh, 8. Ooh, it's an extra 1.6 grams. That's 0.4 of a gram per prop. Ooh, fuck, dude. I think I did that math wrong, but whatever. That's heavy. That is heavy, 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 heavy. So... yeah. This is one of the things that turned me off to toothpicks back in the day. And why I, fell out of love with them once I started to fly harder and crash harder. And now I'm back. And, like, the motor shafts haven't gotten any bigger. They're not using any kind of exotic materials yet, right? Like, if they could make these motor shafts out of titanium like they do on 2306s, they'd be a little bit stronger. They'd be more prone to breaking, but they would be stronger. They would resist bending better. And, like, once the motor shaft is bent, the motor is garbage anyway, so they kind of might as well be titanium. But we demand that these little motors be really cheap, even though... the materials are not what costs on these motors, right? It's the time to set the machines up and all that jazz. So between a 2306 and 702, it's the same amount of setup time. But I'll be damned if I'm going to pay $25 per for a 702, right? So yeah, we are in a bit of a durability conundrum here. Maybe it was just a fluke. It wasn't, but... yeah, it's not looking like you can crash these things hard. And maybe that's just it. Maybe you can't hammer the shit out of them. I wasn't flying particularly hard when this happened. I just hit Scraggle that I couldn't see. And I just happened to be like 15, 20 feet in the air above concrete when it happened. So, yeah, I don't know. But more testing coming. I just wanted to give you guys that update because this literally happened like 2 hours ago, 3 hours ago. And I was sad, man. I thought that these were light enough where they would just bounce off of stuff and a 1.5 millimeter motor shaft would be enough. This motor shaft was not bent at all before that. It was flying totally fine. I just actually spun the motors up because I had this one propeller that let go on, I forget which motor, but yeah. So we'll see. We'll see. That's going to be the next big thing with these is how do we mix durability in? Is it a different motor? Is it a different propeller? Is it T-mount screws? Like, what is it? Some people do plastic T-mount screws, I feel like that kind of negates the idea of even having them. Like that they're not going to. I can't see how they would provide any actual strength. They're just going to snap. But I don't know, man. I don't know. That's how some of my day went. Look at this. This is the Bando Turtle, which I got in green because I thought that this section here kind of looks like a turtle shell, and then this looked like its arms. And so now I've decided that I'm going to do Teenage Mutant Ninja Baby Turtles. And so it's in Leonardo spec right now. I just got done printing out a set of red TPU for it, for Raphael. And then I'm going to print a set of purple for Donatello. And then I got to put the orange back in. And I'll make a Michelangelo set of TPU for it. And then I don't know. I can't afford to build 4 of them. And I can't run 4 sets of TPU at once. So I don't know. Maybe I'll put each set on and like take a picture, and then I can layer the pictures together. And I'll have Team Baby Ninja Turtles. I'm pretty sure that I'm not the first one to realize that you could do that and have Teenage Mutant Ninja Baby Turtles, but maybe, you never know. And then this is the Pro, the Baby Turtle 2.5-inch Pro. I think what I'm gonna do at some point here is pull the 2-inch Baby Turtle apart and just drop it right in to the Pro here. Swap the motors out because I don't think a 1003 is quite enough motor for 2.5-inch propellers. I think the first motors that I'm going to try are these old-ass RCX 1103s, just because they're the four. The other thing is that these 1002s are 3-bolt. There you go, 3-bolt motors. And I got both of these for 9x9 4-bolt motors. And so these are the smallest motors that I've got. And I want to try these out. I've had these for a long time. They're like 7800 kV 1103s. They also have the motor plugs on them. So I'll throw these on just to kind of see how they are. But I think it's going to need something bigger, like a 1202.5 or like a 1303 or something like that. So I'll figure that out, but I'm gonna try those first because I've been hanging on to them absolutely forever. And then I think I might have a set of 1202.5s floating around. I think I have a set of them for sale actually. Are they right here? They're right here. Yeah, Mamba Toka 1202 8500 kV. So 1202 11 1202. No. 1202 is not going to be enough. 1202 is barely more than 1002 or 1102. I need like a 1203. I need a 3mm tall stator. Okay, so these aren't gonna. Well, I mean, you never know. Maybe I'll test it with these. Although these have to be direct soldered on, don't they? Let's see. I'm sure that they do. I don't know why I'm bothering to take these out. Yeah, they do. So I don't know. What now I got to start digging around. Did any of you know offhand if there are any 9x9 mount motors that have the motor plugs on them? I also bugged my dad last night about an electrical question. What I basically asked him is, hey, when voltage goes up, what happens to resistance? And he explained some things to me. What I was really asking him is, if I have a 2S build and a 1S build, and one of them is going to get motor plugs, which one should it be? And he basically explained to me that as voltage goes up, the resistance situation gets better. So motor plugs, if all things are equal, if the amounts of power being made are equal between the 1-cell and the 2-cell rig, the 2-cell rig is going to do better with motor plugs. There's going to be less loss in the motor plugs because of the higher voltage. And he explained it in terms of like, this is why power lines, which have major loss issues, and we don't want to have we don't want to have any resistance or any loss. They're 10,000 volts. They just crank the voltage to the fucking moon to help with the losses. And so that made me feel a lot better. And like, you know, this rig with these motor plugs making all this power, it's fine. The runtimes are great. So yeah, I don't have an issue doing the motor plugs on these more powerful 2S rigs, especially because it's kind of looking like we're going to have a real durability issue with these motors, or we're going to need to be swapping these motors out. So I need to find motors that are 9x9 mount that have the damn plugs on them. So if you know of some, let me know. Because a lot of these, the Tiny Whoop motors are rare in that they have those PCBs. Most motors, the magnet wire comes down the bottom of the stator, and then the manufacturer solders a multi-strand wire to it and puts the fancy, not fancy, it puts the shrink wrap there. And so most motors, it's not easy to set them up with motor plugs. I would either need to get the crimping kit, which would suck, and I've looked at before. It sucks because the wires are so small, and you got to get like just the right amount of exposed wire, and then the crimp has to be like millimeter perfect, because when you crimp those things on, they need to, the little bullet crimp thing, it needs to grab the silicon and then the multi-stranded wires, and like that gap there is like 1 or 2 millimeters, and so crimping those damn things on would just be impossibly difficult. You know, I can't imagine that I'd be able to pull it off reliably. So I don't know, man. We'll see. I gotta figure this out. If all is lost with the 2-inch setups here, there's a chance that I'll drop down to 1.8 to see if I can make that work, because that takes some of the weight out of it. But like, I don't know, man. I don't know about that. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how bad the durability is. If the durability is really nasty, we're gonna have to figure out a way to lighten them up. And maybe it's just a situation where like your 04 light carbon fiber 2-inch setup, you don't crash it. It's not your basher. You don't fly it around Scraggle. It's your cinematic kind of setup. And then your analog one, which I have all pulled apart over here, that's the one that you can bounce off of stuff. And like that's kind of the case with the Tiny Whoops, you know. So wouldn't be the end of the world, but yeah, a couple of different, and this is also colored carbon fiber. I really like the colored carbon fiber. This is blue. These are from CNC Madness. This is the blue, and this is the green, obviously. So yeah, cool stuff coming. I'm hoping that on these 2.5-inch builds with the T-mount screws, it might keep the motors from bending up, but I don't have high hopes for that, because this motor bent below the motor shaft. This would not have been helped by the T-mount screws. The T-mount screws are going to help the propeller from popping off, but they're not going to help with the motor shaft bending down below the bell, in between the bell and the stator. So yeah, I think it's just going to be a got to build it light situation. And 2.5-inch, I'm already kind of suspect that these 2.5-inch setups are going to have not enough weight and too much propeller, and they're going to fly like a toothpick, and that like they have no momentum. But I'll find out. Natter FPV with a $10 super chat. He says, for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Baby Turtles, LOL. Thank you, dude. In the chat, Fizz PV was first. Flycadelic, Green Thumb, P Money. I'm gonna call you Ola because I can't pronounce that. That's a wild name. Burlak, Adam Verby, Uke, Jimmy the Cow, Whoop Fox, Giddy Bots, Jimmy Flies FPV, Matthew Wegner, The Bruce, Spaceman Spiff. I almost said Spaceman Stiff. Frank Nicholas, Jimmy the Cow again, Natter, Jeremy, Nathan Wells, heading to the pros, 38. I'm going to leave it there. If you want to hear your name, either tag me by typing that, or get your ass in here early. Jimmy the Cow tagged me and said moo. Whoop Fox says, also you said to tag you from Discord on showing off some builds. Yeah, hey, Whoop Fox posted on my Discord in the General Nonsense forum a build lineup. He took all of his builds from smallest to biggest, lined them up, and then took a picture. You do that too. Yes, you. Right there. The one that I'm pointing at. Do that. That's a super cool idea. You'll see somebody else's build, and you'll be like, what frame is that? And then you'll start asking them, and they'll tell you about the parts list and all that good stuff. So yeah, head over to CiottiFPV.com, hit the Discord link, and you'll get access to General Nonsense, Troubleshooting Corner, FPV Therapy, 3D Printing, Find a Local Friend, Best of CiottiFPV, Events Info, and Name the Stream over on my Discord. If you want access to the Patron Hangout, Livestream Live, CiottiFPV Reacts, the News, Toothpick and Whoop, Micro Brushless, Cinewhoop, 5-inch mini quads, Schlong Range, HD Master Race, the Video Collective, Swap and Shop, all FPV retailers, Stick and Dick Ends, and 6 batteries, you got to pay me $3 a month. It's only 10 cents a day. It's like 20 cents per live stream. And it allows me to keep doing this. So support the things in the world that you like, and they won't disappear forever. If you do $5 a month, you'll be entered into giveaways every single first Monday of the month without even having to be on the live streams. Someday, just magically $50 worth of stuff will show up in your mailbox. There's a whole bunch of tiers over there on the Discord. I just made some adjustments to the Discord too. Let me know if you like them or if you don't like them. I couldn't figure out, I think it's because I'm logged in as a creator, I couldn't figure out where to hit the tags. Where are the tags? I tag every single post on the Patreon so that you can actually find stuff. So like one of the really cool tags is Tech Talk, T-E-C-H space T-A-L-K. I was able to just type that into the search, and it did find a post with Tech Talk, and then I just clicked the tag, and then it opened all the Tech Talk tags up. But there used to be, like, on the side, there used to be, the tags, like, listed out that you could just click through, and I'm not seeing that. But again, I think that might be because I'm logged in as a creator on there. There we go. Burlak just put a family photo up. Cool. Good shit, fellas. Get on it. Line your shit up and take a picture. Thank you, Whoop Fox, for the reminder. I knew that I wouldn't remember. Jeremy P says, did you find those motors? I didn't. And I did dig around a bunch. I think they're gone. I think I did sell them. I might have sold them at Castle Crash. I don't think I did, though. No, there's no way I sold them at Castle Crash, because like a month and a half ago I might have sold them at Castle Crash. I was talking about them on a live stream a month and a half ago, but I didn't say that I had them. I think they're gone. Denzel the Turtle says, greeting Cretans and CiottiFPV. Adam Verby says, I was thinking of getting a 2.5-inch Bando Turtle and building up analog. I have a set of RC and Power 1202.5, 11,500 kV. Think those motors will be okay for it. On tri-blades, any motor limiting. On tri-blades, yeah, you're going to have to motor limit for sure. On bi-blades, you might be able to get away with it. But yeah, on tri-blades, you're going to have to motor limit. I would start at like 80%, to be honest. And you might end up staying there. Oh, hey, the other thing that I wanted to do... Oh, I can't do it because I was going to weigh these. But I did weigh them before I stuck all the TPU to this one. The Bando Turtle is significantly heavier than the Pro, the 2.5-inch Pro. The other thing that I did want to look at, though, that I couldn't quite figure out on their website is how far forward the camera sits on the Bando Turtle here versus the Pro. And we can totally now do that. So, like, if I go belly to belly on these... you can very easily see that on the Bando Turtle, there we go. On the Bando Turtle, the camera is going to sit significantly farther forward. On the on the V3, I'm sorry, on the Pro here, the camera is going to sit exactly like that. So the lens of the camera sits ever so slightly in front of the standoffs. The standoffs on the Pro here are exactly the same as that one. So the lens is going to sit, I'm going to say 3, maybe 4 millimeters farther forward on the Bando Turtle than the Pro. So yeah, the Bando Turtle will definitely give you a little bit less prop in view. What worries me though is hammering the camera sitting up here in TPU into stuff, right? Like this TPU it's pretty strong. I'm actually pretty impressed by it, and it might be strong enough. It might just be strong enough. But it just sketches me out a little bit to have the camera in TPU versus having it inside of like carbon fiber and aluminum. So yeah, that's a cool thing about the Bando Turtle. Even though it is a little bit heavier, you're gonna have a little bit less prop in view. I don't think you're gonna have any prop in view though, to be honest, because the camera cage is pretty far forward on both of these, and so the propellers are only really swinging like that. And with how narrow the field of view is there, I don't think it's gonna make a difference. I don't think there's props in view on either one. But there you go. You Can FPV says HappyModel for the win. Adam Verby says, would you consider putting the 3D printed motor protectors on them? Yes, I've actually begun to print out the motor protectors, but they would not have helped this situation at all. This is a case where the propeller hit and the propeller dumped all the energy into the motor bell, and that's what bent the motor bell. The ends of the arms here have not hit the concrete yet. They're completely unscraped. So if it had had motor protectors, it wouldn't have done much, if anything. There is a slight chance that it could have done a little bit. It could have maybe, like, because it would have been a little bit thicker on here, it might have hit the ground. But like, if it would have done a lot, then the carbon fiber would at least have a little bit of a mark on it. So this is a crash that happened when it was like inverted, when it was like coming down like this, right? Where the propeller and the motor bell are all taking all the jam. Or, I mean, it could have been coming down like this, right? The propeller is a lot bigger than the bell of the motor. You Can FPV says they also just sell the 40,000 kV and the 32,500 kV, they being Weebleed, in 1.5 millimeters. My 40,000s are still going super strong. I think I'm going to order the 32,500s next. Yeah. Love those motors. They're my favorites in terms of 0702s. I just wish we had good propellers with 1.5 millimeter motor shafts. We should though, soon enough. Jimmy the Cow says easily solution on not bending shafts on open prop builds get good. You know, it's funny. It's the complete opposite. In order to get good, you got to crash and you got to bend motor shafts. One of the biggest cancers in FPV groups on Facebook is the "just don't crash" comment that people leave when good pilots try to share info on durability with each other. The shitty and or pilots that don't fly at all come in and say "just don't crash," and it's just the stupidest thing ever. And like, it's a little bit of a meme, but like, it's, you know, it's just silly. And like, I know Jimmy the Cow is just kidding, but like on Facebook groups, it's super funny. Like the people that say that, you click on their page and, you know, it looks like they gave the transmitter their 4-year-old. FizzPV said their 4-year-old probably outfly him. FizzPV says, are the Beta FPV 1103s for 2S motors threaded for T-mount screws? Beta FPV 1103 11,000s. Doesn't look like it. Nah, they can't be. If you raise this up here and the prop sits on there, you can't then. Oh, there we go. Definitely not. But yeah, that don't work. I didn't even realize that they made an 1103, and it's got a motor plug on it. Okay. We might be able to find a motor that has like a stronger motor shaft. I doubt it, but you never know. Adam Verby says, do your HappyModel 1103s not have T-mount? Staring at mine right now, and they are the 11,000s and definitely have T-mount. They do indeed. Yeah, it's just the props that we really want to run don't. Jamie Flies FPV says, how about GemFan Hurricane 2023? So yeah, those are the V1s I think that Jamie's talking about. We showed those. Yeah, I don't know, man. Adding what I can tell you is that what I can pretty much guarantee you is on this build with this small of a motor, if I run one of those heavier propellers with T-mount screws, the response time is going to go to shit, and it's going to fly like absolute ass. And it's not going to help with the motor shaft bending problem, right? The motor shaft bent under the bell. The motor shaft bent in between here and the bottom of the bell. And the motor screws aren't going to help that. This is an issue that I don't think has a solution. I think the solution is that when we build these things with digital HD setups in them, they're heavy enough that they're going to eat motors. And so we either make sure that we build them with motor plugs and then just buy a whole bunch of extra motors and swap them on all the time, or we don't fly those rigs hard. And that kind of sucks. I was really looking forward to having a 2-inch rig that could take some punishment. And I thought that it being so light would be sort of the answer, because this is a problem that I've always had with the 3-inch micros, because they only have most of them only have 2mm motor shafts. Sure, 2mm is better than 1.5 that these guys have, but it's not better enough, especially because they end up weighing like 180, 190, 200, 250 grams. There are a couple of motors out there that have 3mm motor shafts, like the Xnova 1804, but most of those are too big of a motor or not high enough of a KV, and so we're left, kind of stuck. I know for a fact that they can do a 3mm motor shaft in a 15.0 something motor, because RC and Power makes a 15.06. Unfortunately, that motor size, it is 15.06. Unfortunately, that motor size gets way too hot, draws too many amps, kills your batteries. But it's got a 3mm motor shaft, and it's like damn near indestructible. It's not a good motor to actually fly with. I'm very tempted to try them again. I tried that motor 6 years ago, and it murdered all my batteries. And back then, with the more pedestrian Betaflight, it was impossible to tune. It's a very notchy motor. Back then, we had a really hard time with notchy motors. RPM filtering seems to have really taken care of that, which is magic. But yeah, here we go again with being limited by parts. But maybe the manufacturers will watch and listen and make some changes. You never know. Nathan Wells says, how about using nylon screws on the T-mounts? I bought a 100-pack of nylon M2x20 off Amazon for cheap and just cut them down to whatever length I needed at the time. Yeah, I have a bunch of nylon M2 screws as well. I I will probably give them a shot at some point, but I can't possibly imagine that they're going to help enough. And what's really going to suck is that they're going to break off inside the motor bell. And that's going to get super annoying. I'm also a little bit worried if the motor gets really hot that they're going to like soften up and or melt inside of there. But yeah, I don't know. It's I've seen a bunch of people do it. It just, I can't imagine that they're gonna provide enough strength. I could totally be wrong, and there is 2 of them, and it will definitely be better than nothing. But yeah, I don't know. FizzPV says Beta FPV 1102 11,000 kV 2S motors have plugs. Yeah, so I need something bigger than that. I need like, I'm looking for like an 1104 or a 1203 or a 1303 with motor plugs. The Anzilla Terrible says get a crimper and just set up and put plugs on the motors yourself. Yeah, like the crimpers are okay for like bigger wires, but boy, 30 gauge wire using one of those crimpers is going to be a bastard. Uplift says, oh, that's a little big though. HappyModel 1404 3500 and the KV's too low, or 4800 kV has motor plugs. Yeah, I need 18. I need like 8,000 kV, probably 9. Maybe 7, certainly not 3,500 or 4,800. Good call though. I'll look and see if there's any HappyModel motors that work. 1404 is also a little bit too big. Just a Shy Guy ordered X14 Module 8 about an hour ago. Pretty pumped. Very cool. B Kirk says I need some motors for the Pro Turtle 2-inch. You and me both, my friend. These HappyModel motors are great. They're well balanced. They make great power. Whether or not the short shaft is contributing to this problem, I'm not quite sure. It very well could be helping the situation because the short shaft might allow the propeller to pop up and off, and that's going to absorb some of that energy and hopefully not bend the motor bell. I may have made that situation worse by tightening up these propellers so that they won't slide on the motor shaft. It's super hard to tell, but I got tired of bumping into like a tree branch and having the propeller come off from the short shaft. So, yeah. I'm just trying to say short shaft as many times as I can. Sly Stop says, my first build was a baby turtle with Module 8 parts. Now I want the Kayoumini 2.5 inch, maybe an 04 Lite. What setup would you recommend? I'm having a hard time recommending anything right now because I'm not finding this to be all that durable. And for me, durability is super, super, super important. So, yeah, that's a tough one. The electronics that are in this are great, though. This has the Flywoo AIO, HD AIO. The HappyModel 2S HD AIO is also going to be really good. And then for motors, you want like a 1003 or an 1103. Oh, wait, no, 2.5 inch? Yeah, okay. So what I've been talking about. 1203, 1104, or bare minimum 1203, maybe even a 1204. That's going to be really powerful, though. I think like a 1303 is also going to be in the ballpark there. And then you're going to want somewhere around 8 or 9,000 kV. CXBFPV says, my HappyModel 1103 11,000 kV motors have threaded screw holes to secure those 2023 props. Yours don't. So we talked about that. How far behind am I? That was only 10 minutes ago? I thought I talked about that a while ago. The props don't have... The props that I want to run, these 2023S props, don't have T-mount holes, in case you missed it, like a little bit ago when we were talking about it. FizzPV says, posted a pic to General. Very cool. Oh, look at that. So he's got a Beta FPV 1103 that does have threaded holes. Very interesting. Way to go, Beta FPV, for confusing everyone. Oh, from the Cetus X. Okay, just check the set of 1103s I have from the Cetus X, and it doesn't have the ridge, and the 2 holes are threaded. Interesting. License to Drive says, now printing the RP4 TD antenna holder with double thickness hinge. We'll find out what it's like in 15. Awesome. License to Drive has new Radio Master T-mount antenna jib jabs on his Thingiverse. Here comes a link. He is Haku3D on there, and he's got the coolest 3D printed stuff in all the land. You need to go check it out. Yeah, these are his new Radio Master specific antenna holders. Vertical 45 degrees, straight up vertical, horizontal drop down, and then horizontal no drop down. Absolutely amazing. I mentioned that the I printed the 45 degree one, and the little living hinge was totally fine here. But for whatever reason, when I printed the horizontal drop down one, the little living hinge in here, it printed like really thin. And these 2 pieces ended up actually coming apart from one another. So I said, yo, any chance you can make that part ever so slightly thicker? And it sounds like he did, and he's printing one right now, which is pretty awesome. So yeah, go check this out. He's got lots of other stuff. If you hit Haku3D here, he has loads and loads and loads of really cool antenna mounts in here. So go show him some love. Tip your designer. These little TPU kit. I actually used one of these last night in the home theater over there. Really cool stuff. All right. Momo Slappy, I haven't seen you in a while. Hopefully you've been good. GepRC 1202.5, 10,000 kV or 15,000 kV with plugs. There we go. GepRC 1202.5. I'm actually going to pull a tab up with that. Thank you, dude. Adam Verby says Beta FPV Lava 1104 7200 has motor plugs. Ooh. I like the idea of an 1104. All right, I got another tab open with that. And then Uplift FPV says HappyModel also has 1205. Woo! 1205, 11,500 kV, 1.5 millimeter motor shaft. 1205 is going to be a rough size. Most of you know this, but for anybody that's new, one of the most important things about motor design is the ratio of width to height. And those numbers are referencing the stator. When you look at a motor, this is based on an 802. So this motor would be 8 millimeters wide in this dimension here, and then it's 2 millimeters tall. What matters is the ratio. 8 wide, 2 tall. That's a 4-to-1 ratio. We never want to be too tall, because if the motor is too tall, it's not wide enough for it to be in the downdraft of the motor. What happened to my 7-inch props up here? So when this guy's all together, and you've got your prop on here, the wider the motor, the more of the motor bell is in the downdraft of the propeller. And so the cooler the motor is going to run. And across the board in FPV, if the motor is at least 3-to-1 from as far as this ratio goes, it's going to run cool in most scenarios. I say most scenarios because we then go build weird stuff like 3-inch Cinewhoops that are carrying 130-gram action cameras. And so for a weird situation like that, we need an even wider motor that's not really any taller. And so we need to shift that ratio. So a Cinewhoop motor that is 4-to-1 or 5-to-1, think like 2004, right? So it's 4 tall, so 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. That's a perfect 5-to-1 ratio. That's a motor that runs cool, even though it's a small motor picking up a really heavy camera. It doesn't have a lot of power, but that doesn't matter. You don't need a lot of power in Cinewhoops, right? And so the ratio is what's super important on the motors to get good performance and have them not overheat. Why is it important for them to not overheat? Because magnets, when magnets overheat, they lose their magnetism and you take a massive efficiency hit. So it just starts to murder your batteries. The flight performance goes to hell, and it's just all bad. If you want your rig to perform well, the motors cannot be overheating very often. And so a 1205 is only like 2.3-to-1 ratio. Same thing with a 1506 I was talking about a minute ago, the RC and Power 1506, 6, 12, 18. So it's like 2.5-to-1 is the ratio there. It's getting closer to 3-to-1, but it's not quite there. And so it's just a motor that is going to get hot, so you can't hammer it. Like it's a motor you got to either like motor limit down, or just don't be violent with the throttle, right? Just understand, yo, these motors can overheat. So if I'm ever going to go full throttle, it's like full throttle, chop it. Like there's no like sitting on full throttle and doing that punch out to the moon, because the motors are going to cook and your battery is going to blow up and your whole house is going to burn down. Moton FPV 805 says, just got the Meteor 75 Pro P art link. Looks good, just heavy, 37 grams. I saw that an email came around from Get FPV showing that thing. I'm very curious, man. I hope we get some good, cheap HD systems this year. Not looking forward to the fact that like Beta FPV has their own set of goggles. Whoever the hell else just did an artisan chip setup, they have their own set of goggles. Like that's a fucking nightmare. But you never know. Maybe somebody will come out with a set of goggles that works on all these artisan setups. I doubt it, but never know. Hey, sweet. I'm caught up on chat. Let's dive into the X14 build, because I am pretty desperate to get this done. I can't believe that it's not done yet, to be really honest. So we're going to dive right into this. This is a brand new HappyModel X14 AIO, and then I'm going to pair it with these iFlight 1002 14,000 motors that I pulled off of a iFlight Defender, since I can't find the goddamn 1102 10,000 kV motors that the Mob6 7 came with, that I swear to God I didn't sell to someone, but I hope that I did sell to someone, because otherwise they're lost here, and that just makes me absolutely insane. We're going to use the Mob6 704 frame here. This is the HappyModel M80 frame. This is significantly lighter than the Meteor 75 Pro frame, and it holds 2S batteries. What else? Oh, and then we're doing a this is now up. I think I got it up on Etsy. This little mount piece here is now on Etsy. This will allow you to use a C03 camera or a normal camera in a Mob6 6 canopy. All you got to do is take a file and just open the front up a little bit, right? So that the lens, these bigger lensed cameras will fit in there. But that's super easy to do. And then there's also one of these for the Caddx Ant. So yeah, that should be live over on the Etsy store right now. I'm pretty sure that I got that uploaded today. If I didn't, it'll be up there tomorrow. But like I said, I'm pretty sure it's there. And so yeah, I've got a C03 camera here. It uses the itty bitty little plug that the X14 now uses. So C03s should be plug and play. I don't think they label. Do they label the pads here? They do. The ground is on the left. So let me see. I'll tell you right now if it's plug and play. Ground is on the left. You gotta be fucking kidding me. No, 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 no way. No fucking way. Hold on. Don't you even tell me that they went with a different pinout than Beta FPV. No, they didn't. On the board, the ground is silk screened all the way off on the side, but they give you this little adapter here from the itty bitty little plug to a regular JST 1.25. And on this, the wires are the same as Beta FPV and also Newbie Drone. Thank God. Which is ground in the middle, and then voltage on the left, and then video on the right. Oh, thank God. I was about to get, like, legitimately pissed off. But, no. Yeah, so C03s are plug and play for this. And they put this camera plug up towards the front, so hopefully this camera cable will be long enough. It's going to be close, though. I'm admittedly a little bit worried that this C03 wire isn't going to be quite long enough. But if it isn't, I should have already done this. This is stupid. So when you use this little piece, you need to E6000 the camera in here. Just put a little dot and a little dot. You don't have to go ham. I already did that, but and what you can do is you can run the cable down through this bottom part for a little bit of extra cable length, and I didn't do that, and that might bite me in the ass right now. I'm gonna figure this out right now because if that's the case, then I'm not going to be able to finish this build. So let's just take a quick look. I'm going to plug this in, and then I'm going to make the angle on the wires. Also, for the record, these itty bitty little plugs, they love a tiny little dot of E6000. Okay, so that camera's there, and then, so that plug is there, rather, and then, nah, I'll be okay. Just barely. Woo! Yeah, so the canopy sits here, and oh, no, yeah, plenty of room, plenty of room. It actually sits forward a little bit, so we'll be good. Okay, whew, thank God. Also, don't plug these itty-bitty plugs in unless you absolutely have to. The smaller the plug, the less the service, the less the number of plugs and unplugs it'll do before it wears out. So don't just randomly plug it in for no reason. Only plug it in or unplug it if you absolutely have to. So the only soldering that we need to do on this is the battery lead, and I'm using BT 3.0, and I might leave it full length, to be honest. So we're going to be running a BT 3.0 battery in here that's going to have a lead on it. And so this is going to plug in like just sort of anywhere. And these cables are going to have to go up and over. So they're going to be roughly... So like this is the back to my right and your left. So I'll put these plugs on the bottom, and then, but the one thing I do want to check is, yeah, and so there's plenty gap here for these wires to go. So basically, well, maybe not. Hold on, let me grab a battery and take a quick look. Every frame kind of handles this differently. Hang on. I got a battery stuck in this box here. Moton says, I posted a comparison video of the Artlink versus Analog on my YouTube channel. Very cool. That's a rough comparison though. Like analog versus anything, analog's gonna look pretty awful. Ooh, maybe I'm not gonna run those wires through there. That battery's pretty tight. Well, you know what? The wires are actually gonna help this. The battery is moving a little bit, and so once the wires are there, they'll push up on the battery. Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna run the wires through there, which is like the normal way that I do it. I might actually try to use the through holes. I probably won't be able to get it through the through holes though. If I don't use the through holes, where will that battery exit? Battery cable exit. Ooh, it's gonna exit right into the duct. Shit. Let's see real quick. With these thicker battery leads, a lot of times you can't use these through holes because the wire is too thick to go through there. And that is absolutely the case here. Damn it. I mean, they give you an XT30. Why would they do that? Oh, man. Hold on. Yeah, it only farts. I might be able to make this work. If you can use a through hole, use a through hole. It is so much stronger of a way to hold a wire. All right, so if you have stripped ends that won't go through a through hole, here's how you deal with that. Possibly. It might not be deal withable, but here's how you try. You get a bunch of flux, and you hammer this guy. After these are already tinned, you hit it with a blob of flux, and you get your solder braid out, and you try to remove as much solder as you possibly can without completely like detinning the wire. So we got our wire, and then I'm going to grab my wick. This is also called solder wick. In this case, John Wick. And you're just going to push the wire down against something. Put the wick up on top. And then bring the heat in from the soldering iron. And the wick is going to remove all kinds of solder. It's really amazing how much solder it pulls out of these things. And so we're going to put it like that. Come on. There we go. And so now you just bring the heat in. And so that now removed a bunch of solder. Now we just have to flatten this guy out. So we'll put it flat on the surface. Give it a little push. We do need a little bit more flux here. Hold on. I got some wick still down here, so let's push it against that. You know what? I'm doing this without... I'm sitting here like, why can't I see anything? Because I'm not using my effing nerd goggles. Alright, here we go. Oh boy, now I can see. Cool, so we got a little bit of flux here. Let's just see. No, still not quite enough. Let's just add a little bit. The flux keeps everything clean, but the other thing it does is it transfers heat because it liquefies really quick, and then that liquid like wraps around the wire, and it just transfers heat really, really quickly and really nicely. There we go. All right, so that's putting some actual heat into these individual strands, and all I'm trying to do is round these guys out. They keep flattening out because we're pushing on it in one direction. Ooh, that's pretty round. Okay, and that's pretty much all the solder removed, so let's see if this will now go through one of these through holes. I don't think that it will, but it's worth a shot. I would really like to use these through holes. Now, there's just no way. So these wires on here are 20 AWG, and it's just not going to happen. There's no way they're going to fit through these through holes. Last kind of resort is to take smooth-jawed pliers and give a little pinch and just rotate it around. But this is a little rough. I mean, now we're starting to like we got a little rogue wire situation here, and I ended up just flattening it out, and that's exactly what I don't want. Yeah, see, now this ain't good. Pretty sure that 20 AWG is just too thick. Yeah, now I made the situation worse here. Nah, no way. No way. Oh, that's annoying. I could probably peel off this rubber back part and then swap these leads out to like 22 gauge or something like that. But that's an awful lot. And then we don't have that nice rubber back bit. The other thing I can do that I am actually thinking about doing right now, since this is going to be using batteries with leads on them, I could do a non 90 degree lead. I might try that. I have those in the yeah, I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna do that. I've been thinking about doing that actually on the bigger builds. So you can buy just the BT 3.0 leads raw, or you can buy a little set of adapters, balance lead to BT 3.0 adapters. If you have like an old charger, 2S charger, that only uses balance leads, you can get these handy dandy little guys, and then you can use those to charge your BT 3.0 batteries. What gauge are these wires? Can I just I'm never gonna use these little adapters. What gauge is this wire? It's probably the same gauge. Yeah, it's 20 as well. Okay. So, all right, let's get this going. I've got a male and a female. We need one of each because we are going to, when you solder to these tiny little connectors, they get too hot, the plastic melts, and then the pins get all crooked, and then you can't plug anything into them anymore. So you always make sure that you plug a male into a female when you're going to solder to them so that it holds the pins straight. Pro tip right there. Pro MFN tip. So I'm going to try 22. Well, actually, I'll just do this. I got a bunch of different gauges of wire in here. We'll just see which ones will go through these through holes. I'm not going to get this build done tonight. It's already 11:30. This is ridiculous. 22 gauge. Here we go. Let's try 22. 22s. All right, let's see. 22 gauge. Oh. Ooh, that would go if it didn't have a little bit of solder on it. What about this side? Yeah, there we go. Okay, we got it. 22. And do I have a red one? Yes, I do. Look at me. I'll do double black. It'll be fine. What could go wrong? And this is probably about long enough because it's going to go down and out. Yeah, this will be long enough. So we're going to cut this guy in half. And I'm going to tin these, but I'm going to tin them with the absolute least amount of wire possible. Because I'm then going to hook them up to these little fellas here. And these guys are just the right length. Okay. Should I put it... I should do the plug first. I'm going to do the plug first, and then we'll hook it up to the board. I'm glad we only had to go down one. I'm glad I didn't have to go all the way down to 24. Cool. All right, so the OmniFixo back out. I actually haven't soldered to one of these quite yet. This will be interesting. I mean, it shouldn't be any different than an XT30, but it might. You never know. Where's the battery? Okay, so the battery has this smaller side, and then so the quad is going to have this side here. All right. And I'm just doing black wires so I don't have to worry about which one goes to which. And then I'm going to hopefully remember to get a bit of shrimp wrap on here. So always want to kind of triangulate with your little OmniFixo. Use one to grab the other to make sure nothing moves around. And shit, I should have been screwing motors into the frame while I was just jibber jabbering for the first half of the live stream. We're gonna do a nice blob of flux here, another one over here. Okay, and then I'm just gonna tin only the outside part of this connector, trying to not use much solder. I don't want too much solder on this thing. And I'm going to be quick, as quick as I can. There we go. And oh shit. There we go. All right. The wires are pre-tinned, but they're pre-tinned with non-leaded solder, which sucks. And so we're going to put them in here, and we're just going to add to the solder on there some of the nice leaded solder that we use in the land of a now lack of freedom. Hold on. Let me use some flux for this. In the land of hypocrisy. Alright. So here we go. Just gonna flood that with nice fresh solder. Alright. All set. So our wires are tinned. They have a mix of leaded and lead-free solder. The OmniFixo is super nice. It's nice and small. You can move it around so that you can get lined up here. So I'm going to do this one first. So I'm going to pull the tip of the soldering iron in. So I'm going to do this pin here first. So tip of the soldering iron is going to come in like that. And I'm going to use my left hand to hold the wire straight down. You guys probably won't be able to really see this all that well, but it's incredibly difficult. And I'm going to use to show you what I'm doing and get a good quality solder joint. I'm going to use smooth-jawed tweezers here because this wire is going to get hot fast, and I don't want to burn my little fingies. So here we go. This solder joint takes a lot of stress, so take your time and get this right. Get a good connection here. Tin them both. I should probably add a little bit of flux right now. I'll do it on the next one. Sweet. it really doesn't need any more flux. I put enough flux on there before. There's still some residue. There was that one. And now I'm just going to roll right into the other one. I'm being quick enough that I don't have to clean the tip of the iron. And so what I'm waiting for there is all of the solder to flow. You're going to touch, you've got a wire, and then you've got either a pad or in this case like a pin. And so you touch the soldering iron to the wire, it starts flowing. The wire is pushed up against this pin or pad or something. You need to wait until not just the wire is flowing, you need the solder to then flow around that pin or around that pad. If that doesn't happen, you're going to get a cold solder joint, and those are the solder joints that break. This turned out pretty goddamn nice. This is probably not going to want to focus, but not too bad. A little bit of focus there. Yeah, you can't really see. But this turned out really nice. Now I'm going to not forget to put some shrink wrap on this. And I'm going to be very careful because I used 2 black wires instead of a red and a black. So I got to be super cautious here. Not a good idea because if I pull this thing apart at some point and I'm in a hurry, there's a chance that I'll F this all up. So don't do as I say, not as I do, I guess. This is my like thicker, beefier shrimp wrap. It is adhesive lined, so it sticks really, really, really well to anything that it shrinks down into. The inside of the shrimp wrap is lined with adhesive. And so let's see if it's big enough. It sure is. So let me see if I can go down one size, though. No. I'm all out of the shrimp at the smaller size. So I'm going to go like that, and I just want it over that lip there. So actually, I'm also going to put a little bit of shrink wrap here just to isolate each one of these pins from each other. Not super necessary, but it's going to take me like 60 seconds to do it. So let's just do it real quick. Like, just get a little piece of shrink that's ever so slightly bigger than those 2 wires. And we're just going to cut a little bit and cut a little bit. I actually need to stretch these a little bit. They're not quite big enough. So just put them on the pliers, stretch them out, make them just barely bigger, throw them on here. Okay, perfect. That one looks great. This one, just stretch it ever so slightly. Okay. On this one. All right, got it. And so now we'll just hit these with a little bit of heat to shrink these down. Hey, on these carbon fiber frame builds, you got to Loctite everything. The screws back out because the screws are not pushing up against plastic that has like grip. So that's another quick thing I wanted to mention in reference to the open prop builds. All right, so those 2 guys are looking good. Now we just want to... Ooh, I can use this piece. This piece is not long enough. Oh well. So it needs to be roughly this long. Okay. Also, don't cut shrimp wrap like I am right now. Cut it with scissors so that you cut it straight across and you don't have like a weird little seam here that can kind of rip. The seam only usually rips when you try to stretch the shrink wrap, and in this case, I'm not going to be stretching this, so I'll be fine. But yeah, don't cut shrink wrap one side than the other. All right, and then so we're going to drop this on here, get it to overlap just a little bit, and we'll see how much this side shrinks down. Probably not quite enough, but it won't be the end of the world. it'll still protect this. And we did do those inner jibbo jabbos. That's the technical term for them. Uh-oh. Okay. Now let's see. Let's see how much this will shrink down. Not quite enough, but not that bad. Like, it's... If I'd used smaller shrink wrap and then stretched it, it would have closed this down a little bit more, but I'm all out of that other stuff. And so since this is adhesive lined, it's actually going to be okay because it's going to grab these wires. I'm actually just going to... It's still hot, so I'm going to grab it with these and just kind of pinch it around the wires a little bit here. And that adhesive does a pretty good job kind of wrapping around each one. I want it to kind of grab these wires so that if I yank on this plug, it's not pulling on the solder joints, it's kind of pulling on the wires a little bit. What I could also do is that actually ended up working pretty well. You could also put some E6000 in there. But yeah, anything you can do to try to have the wires be what gets pulled rather than the solder joint is going to be awesome. That actually worked out really well, pinching that big, thick, adhesive-lined shrimp wrap around those wires. Let me see if I can show you that. Look at that. Isn't that cool? I just pinched it with the little pliers. That worked really well. Sweet. All that just to make a battery lead. But now we've got a battery lead where I can use these through holes. So let's get this stripped. Oh, YouTube crashed. Let's get it going again. What is this shrimp wrap you speak of? It's new technology. It's synthetic. Top chat changes to live chat, and all right, I'm back. So here we go. I'm gonna strip off just a tiny little bit. This is a fairly thin PCB, so I only really need to strip off the tiniest little bit of silicone insulation from these fellas. Actually, one of them, I'm going to make one of them longer than the other. So which is that going to be? I always do that by where they sit on the board. So the ground is going to be a little bit shorter. Okay, so the ground is going to be shorter. Where the hell is the ground on these plugs? So, okay, now I'm done soldering to this connector, so I can pull this opposite lead off because my pins are now safe. I'm going to be soldering all the way down here on the wires, and that's totally fine. So the ground is going to be shorter, and it looks like on these plugs, ground is this one. Is there any marking for that whatsoever? None. All right, but I just know it. Ground is this one because on the battery, that hooks up there, and this is the ground. Okay, so it's this guy. This guy. So we'll do this one first, I guess. Well, we'll just cut it a little bit. But then I'm actually going to do the other one first. I'm going to do the positive first because it's... Well, no, I'm shooting out the bottom. I'm going to solder it like this. Ooh, that's close to that connector. Yeah, I'm going to do the ground first. So I'm going to do the shorter one first because it's really close to that plug header. So, all right, I'm going to take off a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of the silicone insulation. And with these pliers, I'm just kind of denting it. And then I can use them to pull it off. You can also use your fingernails. That's a little bit safer. I've done this enough that I can do it pretty accurately with these. And then the positive lead, I'm going to leave full length. But again, taking off just a little bit of the silicone insulation. All right, good deal. So, we are going to tin these, but we are going to tin these very quickly so that they don't pick up a lot of solder. I've done this before without tinning them, and the end product is just not quite as good. If you use flux and you're nice and quick, this is totally fine. So we're going to go flux, 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 flux. So now the heat is going to transfer really fast, which is what we want. And we are just going to like barely touch this. I might not even bring the solder onto it. I might just put the solder on the tip of the iron and then just touch that solder to the wire and get right off of there. So, let's see. I'll try it either way. That's it. Okay. And then if I just put a little blob on the tip of the iron and touch that and come on. Yeah, that worked better. Putting a little bit on the tip of the iron worked really, really well. Yeah, wow. Okay. Between there being a blob of flux on the wire and then just kind of being quick with it on the tip there, oh yeah, that picked up. It's definitely encased in solder, but there's not too much on there. It's just a little bit. That was good. Now, the big test is to see if they'll go through. They still might not want to go through. That one's good. That one's good. Hell yeah. All right. We are all set. So the shorter one is the ground. And so that's obviously this one. So they're going to go in here like this. And then the shorter one, see that? See how it sits nice and straight because I made that one a little bit shorter. We don't have a bunch of extra cable. And I can actually, these are staying, because they barely fit, they're staying in there really nice. I'm still going to use the OmniFixo, but this is going to be super, super, super clean. So we're going to grab there, and we're going to grab here, and then I'm going to grab the wires. I'm going to make sure that I push the wires upwards. Well, here, I'll just grab the plug, actually. And then we can always kind of move things around with the OmniFixo. I can even put like a little bit of a rearward angle on these, which kind of helps. Oh yeah, this is going to be gorgeous. And then this one I'll just use to kind of triangulate one of these other ones so it doesn't move around. And so last second little adjustments here. Oh yeah. This is going to be great. Those are sticking in there really nice. This is where the OmniFixo becomes like just brilliant. Like look at this, right? You want to talk about like, and like how long did it take me to do that, right? 10 seconds to get this set up. But like look what I have now. Look, all I have to do is solder this directly up. This arm is holding this cable perfectly tensioned so that both wires, the silicone is perfectly pushed up against the AIO, and then both of these guys are just barely hanging out the top. See that? And then these guys are holding each other. Everything is chill. OmniFixo, man. Worth its weight in gold. This camera, on the other hand, it's worth its weight in potatoes. Here we go. I got a little bit of flux on them. I'm going to bring a little bit of solder in, and we'll be done. All right. There we are. And so now with through holes, you're going to be patient, because you need the solder to seep down through the through hole, especially on the ground pad. So you put the heat in there, and then you wait until you see that solder flow down. It just did, and then you come right on off that pad. Because you want to make sure that the solder doesn't just make a ball up on top. You want it to seep down into that through hole. And then the way that you can check is to look at the bottom. When you look at the bottom, you should see no gold. You should see a little bit of solder peeking up through there and no gold. And yeah, we are good to go. Also, you should see the a little bit of flux residue down there. The flux will kind of flow down there. This looks great. And then what you can do is just push a little bit of an angle on there, just so that it's sort of wanting to go in the direction that you want it to go. That was an awful lot of time just to do a battery lead, but the battery lead takes a ton of abuse, and if you get it right, it won't fail. And when they fail, your battery could explode, right? If they fail together, the battery could literally blow up. Blow up a fire. Oh my god, it's windy out. Yo, it is absurdly cold here. Today was ridiculous. I did not move to the south for this. This is nonsense. Okay. Battery runs in that direction, so we're going to run this like that. And we're not going to put this all the way down yet because we got to plug the camera in. So let's take care of that. Where's that plug? It's right over here. Wow, I can't build tiny whoops without the magnified goggles at this point. I just can't see anything. Okay. Camera plug. Wait. Hold on. Before I plug this in, let me mount this camera in the canopy because it's kind of a pain in the ass to mount it in the canopy. There are... When you buy these canopies, they come with specific screws. They come with conical screws and then button head screws. And they're weird like machine thread. The button head screws are the ones that you want for the side of the canopy. The conical screws are the ones that you use on the little backing piece that they give you. I believe I should have some of those screws in here. I know I have a bag of them over there in the IKEA shelf, but this might be it. That might be too long though. Is that it? That looks like it's too long. Oh no, they're up here. Here they are. Here they are. I think this is it. Yeah. Those are absolutely too long. All right, get these out of here. It's this guy right here. All right. So I got one. Where's the second one? Oh, fuck. Fuck! Is that the other little friend? It is. Get these put away in here. Come on now. Get in there. All right, and I got a couple little motor plugs here I want to put away. Well, I guess I'm off the side of the screen. I had a little kit with lots of tiny whoop stuff in it. Okay. So, these are a little bit annoying, admittedly. The easiest way I've found to do this is to run them through the canopy first. So you put them... Oh, God. There's a whole bunch of metal shavings on this screwdriver. All right, we're good now. So you're going to screw them into the side pods here first. Side pods. The side of the canopy, I should say. First. And so now they're just kind of like sticking through in here. And then what you're going to do is you're going to squeeze this canopy a little bit like that. And that's going to make them push apart. And that'll give you enough room to sneak the camera in there. So lens up into the filed away lens hole in the front. And then just pinch it a little bit. And there's one side. And here comes the... I like to try to get them both at the same time, but I failed miserably in this case. Here comes the other side. Come on. Ah! Come on. You bastard. Sometimes I'll back them out a little bit. I might need to back them out this time. Nope, there we go. Yeah, no, I need to back them out a little bit. It's bending the canopy so much that they're not going to go in there straight. So just back it off a little bit, and then I can just screw it back in. And it just threads right into the PTFE. I think that's what I used. PTFE, is that a thing? Is that a filament? It is now. Okay. And then this one. I'm just backing it out first to make sure that it catches the little hole there. Well, shit! It just separated the layers of the thing. Is that holding though? Okay. Seems to be holding fine. I can maybe just put a little dot of maybe drill them out a little bit. Or yeah, just a little dot of E6000 probably be fine. Huh, that's interesting. I've tried printing this out of TPU and it's too squishy. I've been using this mount. I didn't notice it do that last time I used it. Hold on, let me... fuck it, it's fine. It's fine. Tighten these up, and I'm going to put a dot of E6000, and we'll be good to go. Okay, that looks okay. Let me just check this. Ah, shit. Did it just break the whole thing off? Fuck. The whole back just broke off of this print. No, just the one side. All right, I'm going to put a couple little dots of E6000. It'll be all right. I'm going to get this shit all over myself now. Whatever. It's fine. Little pinpoint applicator tip coming in handy as always. Just put a little bit there. A little bit back here. Yep. Screw that down there. It's just holding the camera. It doesn't need to be like super structural. Alright, a little bit there. Put a little dot here as well. I'll keep an eye on this, obviously, and let you know if it breaks, but I think this should be fine. You could even use that UV glue here. That shit hardens. That'd probably be a better option, to be honest, because it, when it cures, it's hard as a rock. But E6000 is kind of more sticky. Sometimes that UV glue will just break off of the surface that you're trying to glue with it. This E6000 or T7000, you can use them pretty interchangeably. They never, ever, ever let go. Like, until you peel them off, and then they come off in one big chunk. It's really nice. But yeah, this would have probably been better to do with the UV glue. PETG, sorry, PETG. PTFE is Teflon. Yeah. I'm getting old. Okay, now we can plug the camera in and put everything back together. I don't know why I keep taking the magnified headset off. It's 12:01. Jesus. I am going to fly a couple of batteries. Just give me a minute to get a couple things bolted together so that this at least somewhat resembles a finished build. All right, camera is plugged in. Let's put this AIO down on the pegs. Trying to not get that E6000 all over myself. All right, there we go. 1, 2, 3, and all 4. All right, and now we're going to push it all the way down. And I'm going to grab an ORT Micro V. Pop that onto the UFL and through the canopy. And that'll be pretty much it. I'm going to screw these motors down when you're not looking, because that's pretty fucking boring. Where are the antennas? I usually have a whole stack of them sitting right there. Ooh, I could use the crown. This is like an outdoor... Ooh, that could be a nice little durability test for it, too. But the ORTs are... I know they're going to be durable enough. And I do have a bunch of the damn things. So I'm actually going to use the ORTs. I'm going to wait on the crown, and I think I'm going to use that on one of the RC drift chasing rigs. Because the crown antenna should be better in terms of multipathing. So one of the things I love about this Mobula 6 canopy is there's a nice hole back here that these antennas go perfectly through. So we got that, and then I'm just going to turn it a little bit here so that the UFL is facing forwards. And of course, I immediately put the UFL into that E6000. God damn it. Well, the UFL is going to get its own blob of E6000 here. Oh, great, now it's all over my effing hands. All right, let's try this again. Put it down there. Snap it on. Come on, blobby light, get up in there. There it is. All right. UFL's plugged in. Little bit of E6000 there. I'll use the T7000 again. It's fine. Don't ever think that your UFL won't come unplugged on your tiny whoop. It always will. Always, always, always. Just a little blob of this shit right over top of the UFL. Easy, quick, super worth it. All right. Don't skip that step. All right, people. We got this. ELRS antenna, I'm going to run up through this little slot in the canopy. Probably getting more E6000 all over my hands in the process. Let's just see. I'm going to kind of run it across. You do want to get these ELRS antennas vertical for these outdoor quads. It does matter. If you have that antenna flat against the PCB, you are not going to get good ELRS signal strength. And if you decide to fly it a little bit farther away, it is going to suffer. And so yeah, I just run it through these little slots in these canopies. Cool. And then I've got slightly longer M1.2, probably by like 8 screws that I run on these. And so let's throw those down. I sell M1.2 by 10 and 12s on my website. Look at that. These are aluminum. They're not magnetic. On my Etsy store, rather, which you can absolutely use. Those are more for double stacks, but you can usually use them in this case as well. They'll just punch through the bottom of the frame, and that's fine. This is how you don't break the posts off of these tiny whoop frames, is by running longer screws. And if the screw is long enough to poke through the bottom, it'll actually like kind of jack itself into the flat part of plastic down below the post, and that's real strong. Like, you'll never pull one through there. Oh shit, I should have done the front one first. God damn it. So the front one, when you put these giant lensed cameras in here, is kind of a pain in the ass. But if you just push the up tilt all the way up, it's usually fine. Yeah, we're good. There we go. All right. So, yeah, I mean, that E6000 obviously has to dry, but once it does, hopefully it'll hold its up tilt. It's not feeling great, if I'm totally honest, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see how this holds up. Worst case, you get the up tilt where you want it, and then you just put a dot of E6000 on the screw, and then it ain't gonna move. But this is looking pretty all right. C03 in there, a little bit of up tilt, screwed down. BT 2.0. Let's see how this fits with the battery. So the wires are here. They're gonna hopefully make this battery fit just right, or not at all. Shit, are you kidding me? Push him over a little bit, maybe. Oh, screw you. All that for... No, there it goes. There it goes. Yep. No, perfect. Perfect. Yeah, now the battery is tight again. Problem could be getting this plugged in. Do I have enough cable? I do. Hey, we got lights and no smoke. All set. Cool. I'll throw some motors on here, get all the setup done, and let you know on Friday how it is. I'll have some flight footage at the beginning of the live stream on Friday from this little fella. X14. Cool. What would you guys rather me do? Fly a couple of batteries or screw the motors down so that you can hear the motor beeps? Just on task with a $5 super chat. He says, love the content, Ciotti. Thank you, dude. Thank you for the support. I wouldn't be able to do this if it weren't for you beautiful people. X14 is in. You'll also notice there's a camera with red all over the back of it over here. Almost like Weebleed's logo. That's the Weebleed bleed eye. I gotta test that. Coming soon. Jimmy the Cow says, how's Teddy? Doesn't look like he's down here. Doesn't sound like he's down here. Basilia says, do you have a go-to 85mm 2S build? It's pretty much the same thing, just with bigger motors. An 85mm 2-inch prop build, you're going to want a 1003 or an 1103 motor, 10 or 11,000 kV for tri-blades. 14,000 kV for biblades. Roundabout. Doesn't have to be exactly that. Let me fly that. Champion edition again. That Beta FPV Champion edition. Cool. Hey, I have the microphone set up too, so we'll have cool audio. Also, I'm gonna try using my old transmitter, my old white transmitter. I think I want this to be the transmitter that I use here at the desk. Oh, I forgot this one button stopped working on this. Yeah, I would like to use this transmitter here at the desk if I can. So that I don't pound on this other, on my main one. This is like the one that I use for work and whatnot. All right, let's see. I got a couple of my old 260 mAh batteries charged. Let's see how they do. They're admittedly a little bit older. So let me. All right, both mics are on now, so you probably have a little bit of a delay. I'm going to turn off the Shure mic, so now you just have the room mic. And let's see. This battery has red all over it, so it's probably bad. But let's find out together. Maybe it's not bad. You never know. There's that little mic. Okay, let's see what's up. If you remember, this thing has mega power, Beta FPV 30,000 kV motors. And you might see something cool in the top left corner there. Is that not the coolest shit on Earth? It always messes me up. Kelvin. He comes up as complete networking all the time, and it screws me all up. All right, well this transmitter is not arming, so I guess I'm not going to use this transmitter, and the buttons don't work on it. Okay. I think it's because this doesn't have Edge TX. Whatever. I'll just use my main transmitter. I'll figure that out later. It could be because I'm not using the binding phrase in that module, but I don't feel like taking the time to find out. It's fine. God damn it, ELRS just went into flip-flop mode. Adam, he replaced, I don't know how he did it, but he replaced the exclamation point, quotation, pound, and one other character with the 4 little bits of my logo. And so as my craft name, I type in that weird series. And away we go. Super cool stuff. Oh, stop it. Let me see if this camera is level. It's feeling a little weird. Nope, I'm just flying like hell. Oh, come on now. Really? Hey. This has the GemFan 1207s on it. I also want to continue hammering on them to see how they hold up durability-wise. Ugh. Whee! Hey! Oh. I'm pretty in the fireplace. This might not be good. Hopefully it's not all ashed up. Teddy! Teddy! Jesus, dog. What are you doing? Stop it. Nah, we alright. Got away with it. 30,000 kV, 0702, Beta FPV motors. Yeah, look at the minimum link down in the bottom right-hand corner. That should say 100%, but instead the percent in this with this font is replaced by the middle of my logo. Little 260 hanging in all right. Not great, not terrible. Look how smug. Still not a fan of the sweatshirt that we got him wearing, but you know, it's not about him. It's about us. These are the old school orange Beta FPV Lava 260s, not the V2 green 280s. See what I do upstairs real quick. Nope. Well, nah, we got a little bit of light up here. Going into the dark. Woo! Oh no, the refrigerator got me. Really? Camera going particularly weird there. That was odd. Jeez. Whoa, it's dark up there. Oh shit. I hit the kitchen counter and bounced right off. Oh shit. Ugh. It went through that gate. You couldn't really see it, but it did go through there. Something on the camera there for a split. Can you fucking let me fly, please, house? Can we just chill for a minute? Yeah, there we go. Oh, nope. Didn't get that one. It is really hard to fly these super powerful rigs in here. It makes this space feel so much smaller than it actually is. Hey. Oh! I got the cube out to do some Etsy thumbnails for a bunch of new Etsy shite. Oh, no, this battery's done. Oh, I gotta fix the OSD. I got some OSD elements on top of each other. It looks like. All right, I'm gonna do one more. You guys fly the last 3 for me. Or fly all 6 of yours. How about that? It's a little late. It's almost 12:30. Fly the last of my 3 batteries for me. At the very least. It's the least that you can do, friends. Cool? No. Don't do this to me. It's the last battery. Don't go dead now. Whoa, that was close. Ah! Stop it. Look at this sturdy little dog. Look how sturdy. Almost. Teddy, do something. Do something, dog. Come on. Get into it. Get into it, doggy. He don't care. He's not in the mood for our shenanigans tonight. Oh my god! I mean, we're getting some crashes in. Testing these props. They're not like really hard crashes though, so they won't do much of anything. Whew. It chickened out. Let's do it again. Ah! Ooh, Teddy boy! Ah! That's gonna be hard to get it out of there. Oh, I might be alright though. I might be alright. Yeah, buddy. Woo, boy. Oh! Oh, battery's done. There it is, people. Oh, perfect timing. Start beeping all you want right now, Goggles. I'm done with you. Well, goggle battery. There it is, people. Thank you for hanging out. Go to CiottiFPV.com to support me. I'll build more stuff, tell you how it goes, save you some money, tell you what the good stuff is so that you build shit that flies proper. We'll hang out together. Talk about male mental health, all the good stuff. Let me get this battery out of here. And much, much more. Getting a haircut tomorrow, so enjoy the mop while it lasts. You got like 60 more seconds. FizzPV says fly the turtle inside. This thing's hard to fly outside, Jesus. Nyafu says, what's the max all-up weight for 802 on 75mm 2S, trying to build sub 20 gram 2S 75mm, hoping let me fit a 450. There isn't like a max all-up weight. You should be fine. You should be fine with that setup. It'll feel a little heavy, but you'll be all right. And then Yafu said, my whoop freaks out when I crash into stuff, even with crash recovery tuned. What's your crash recovery setting, and could the PID be causing the freakiness? Yeah, the crash recovery won't be a part of that. It's the PID's freaking out. But that being said, here is my crash recovery setup. You're going to have to put some carriage returns in here. Hold on, I can do it. 80. Oh, nope, it won't let me do it. You got to put some carriage returns in there. CCAD Ryan with the last comment live stream says, still down to buy your Walksnail 75 Pro email sent last stream. I replied to your email and I asked you if you were asking about the 2S or the 1S. You very well may have replied already, but I haven't been in my email. So yeah, it looks like one of the 1.6 inch Walksnail rigs is sold. I'm not sure which one. We'll get it worked out. Email is a little bit rough. If you've got Discord or Instagram, that's going to be a better spot to message me. Email will work, but I just get hammered to hell. P-Money with the last comment of the live stream. I'm about to desolder the 4 motor plugs off a flight controller using the braided ribbon. Is it possible without damaging the SMT capacitor? Should I just cut them off? 4 motor plugs using the braided ribbon? What? Desolder the 4 motor plugs? Oh. Braided ribbon? What do you mean braided ribbon? Are you talking about solder wick? Are you using solder wick? If so, yeah, you'll be able to get those off of there just fine. The trick, and I'm assuming that you're just referring to motor plugs. Here's the trick. You get a pair of spring-loaded tweezers, and you hang this off of the motor plug itself, and then you heat all 3 of the pins, and this pulls the motor plug out. Does that make sense? Give it a shot. You need spring-closed tweezers, though. to do that. All right, friends. I'll see you on Friday. Thanks for hanging. CiottiFPV.com. Support me. I'll support you. Cool? Be good. I'll get you some X14 footage on Friday, too. All right? Have an awesome night. Here's some... What's this going to be? This is going to be some analog at Patrick's. What's this? What am I flying here?
Oh, no, it's a
whoop. A whoop? Whooping at Patrick's. This was back in November. Yeah, here we go. See you guys Friday. Come on, goggles.
Yeah. Out in the yard where the grass grows wild, CiottiFPV's goggles locked, grinning like a child. Teddy spaghetti's fur flies and jet wash dreams. Yeah. Chasing small whoops like a dog possessed fiend. Eyes on a neon blur, hard in the chase. Big fuzz and prop spin all tangled in place. Yeah. Four-legged rebel with a rotor stir tail in the circus of the sky. They never fail. CiottiFPV, Teddy Spaghetti, dynamic duo kings, barking at the breeze, throttling at top speed. They zooming through hoops, flipping in style. That schnauzer's got throttle and a toothy smile. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Shotty's on sticks, Teddy's on paws. Side by side, legends breaking all the laws. Through the kitchen, over couch scale terrain. Backyard mayhem in their flight domain. No ground too sacred, no loop too tight. Fuzz, fuel, fury ignites the night. When pilot and pup lock eyes on the prize, every whoop they conquer is a fresh cut surprise. Yeah, yo, Shotty behind the sticks, Teddy's leading the pack. Prop guard missiles unleashed, never looking back. No leash, no map, just freestyle mic. They on the dog drone streets every day and night. Said whoops, hitting low, gotta nail the dive. Teddy push throttle up, feel the beast come alive. I see the neon arc, got the sticks locked in. Teddy, yeah. Let's rip this loop, ride the roar of the wind. Teddy, yep, yeah. CiottiFPV, yeah. Teddy Spaghetti, yeah. Diamond and duo kings, barking at the breeze, throttling at top speed. Zooming through hoops, flipping in style. That schnauzer's got throttle and a toothy smile. Teddy Spaghetti, Teddy and duo kings, barking at the breeze, throttling at top speed things. Zooming through hoops, flipping in style. That schnauzer's got throttle and a toothy smile. Yeah, when you hear that bar cut the rotor hum, you know Ciotty and Teddy's mission's just begun. FPV's fur-faced legends, legends singing loud. Yeah, Teddy Spaghetti and Ciotty.